It's a national issue, and it's an issue right here in Rhode Island that we need to address, and we're addressing every day. We have a human trafficking task force that meets quarterly, but the work is done in subcommittees. So we're doing a lot of work groups really focused on this, whether we have a work group that's spearheaded to address kids that are running away. So we have a group right now that meets monthly to ensure that any child that is missing, that there is a plan in place to recover them. We have groups that are meeting to look at awareness, education, legislation. We have clinical groups that are looking at building in intense clinical programs for kids that have been trafficked. So currently there's a human trafficking task force in Rhode Island that addresses victims of human trafficking. It's comprised of local, state, and federal law enforcement. The U.S. Attorney, the Attorney General's office, day one is the chair of that, and community providers, medical, Hasbro Hospital. We worked together in 2000 and started in 2015 and completed in 2016 the uniform response for human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation of children. And we got together because we saw an issue back in 2014, 2015. Since then, we have been able to recover and work directly with over 200 children in Rhode Island and over 100 adult victims of human trafficking. We have 90 children that are active on our caseload for victims of human trafficking, and we have seen this year over 50 adult victims of human trafficking. Well, it's a large, all different areas they're coming in. For the children, a lot of the children that we're working with have been through the foster care system, so they're open to the Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families. A large portion runaways, homeless children. But they're not just, I think there's this misconception that they're just children that are from urban areas. We're seeing children from all across Rhode Island. So again, the bulk of our numbers come from the urban areas, but we have cases of children that have been trafficked from Newport, from northern Rhode Island, from South County. It doesn't matter. There's no community that doesn't have a child that could potentially be in danger. First is to have really good communication with your children, is to talk to them about this. Again, there's not one child in Rhode Island that's exempt from this. Having a conversation about their social media, talking about who they're talking to on social media, talking to them and looking at their social media. That's one of the bulk of the areas that children are being recruited from. One of the highest numbers are coming from Snapchat. We look at Instagram, Facebook. It's an array of different platforms. Nationally, the age range is 12 to 14. In Rhode Island, we're seeing the average age of 15. But just to make it clear, a lot of the victims that we see are not recovered because it's a really hard crime to detect. So that's why we need to partner with all of these, whether it's the law enforcement task force, spearheaded by Homeland Security and numerous partners throughout Rhode Island. We have to all work together. So with that, we're able to do recoveries, work with the state, local, and federal law enforcement to wrap around services for these victims so they are safe and they're feeling. So similar to what happened in Providence today, we all work together because we can't work separately. We have to work together. So working with police departments, working with prosecution, working with community providers, and working, if they're children, working with the Department of Children, Youth, and Families to make sure there's that multidisciplinary approach focused on really, first and foremost, safety. We want to make sure that these victims are safe. We want to focus on basic needs, whether it's housing, food, and then we look at long-term, looking at treatment, education, vocational services, so that they have an exit strategy.